Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a lesson on number, and what I want to cover in this lesson is singulars, plurals, and duals. I won't be going through everything on plurals, I'll just be introducing them. But I just want to give you some insight into how it works in Arabic. And I'll also give you some examples at the end which you can practice afterwards as well. So just like in English, we have nouns that are singular and plural. So for example, we have in Arabic the singular for boys, boy is that, right? The plural is boys. So we have this in English, but in Arabic, what we also have, interestingly, is duals. So we also have duals in Arabic as well. So the singular in Arabic is called mufradun. Okay, mufradun. So the singular would be called the mufrad. Some people say mufrad, but it's mufradun. And we'll come to the plural later. And in Arabic, for the nouns, we have what musanna. So musanna. Okay. So tasniya also as well. So this is quite unique Arabic because we have ways of converting nouns into duals as well. Okay, so we've covered the introduction, the basics of it. Let's look at how we form the actual duals. So forming the dual. Okay, so we're going to just go through some examples to help you with that as well. So there's two stages. There's two stages to the process. How do we take a singular noun and make it into a dual noun? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place a fatha, on the last letter of the word. Okay, so we're going to put what's called a fatha or fathatun. We're going to do that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add, and I'm just going to make the sound for you, we're going to add an ani at the end. Don't worry about this, I'm going to give you an example in a second. Okay, so let's go through an example. So let's see, we have the word rajulun. 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 Okay, so this word means a man. A man. Singular noun. Now I want to convert this into a dual. So all I'm going to do is on the last letter here, I'm going to put a fatha. So raju. I'm going to be careful here. I'm just going to do like this. And then I'm going to do the second thing, which is to put this ani sound at the end. Now this is going to be written like this. So you can see the alif and the noon coming on at the end. And it becomes rajulani. Yeah. So this is something to bear in mind. Now let me give you another example so it becomes a little bit more clear. So let me just go back a little bit for you. Say we have the word Jannah or Jannatun. Jannatun. Okay, Jannatun. Jannatun means heaven. May we all be there. So Jannatun. Now I want to make that noun into a dual. So I'm going to follow the same rule, but there's going to be one extra thing you need to be aware of, and that's to do with the round ta at the end, the ta marbuta at the end. So let's do it. So you have Jannah. Now remember, this was the last letter, so you're going to have a fatha at the end, right? Now it will become Jannah Tani. Jannah. So the noon and the ta, and then you'll have the ani at the end. Yeah, Jannah Tani. Now you'll have noticed there's been a slight addition or change here. The singular had a ta marbuta at the end. When we convert it into a dual, it doesn't have the ta marbuta at the end. It has the normal ta at the end, right? So jannatani. So jannatani means two heavens. Okay, for now. So that's the basic introduction to how to convert a singular noun to a dual noun. All right. So let me take you through to an example of how we would work if it was to do with plurals, right? So plurals. Let me draw this for you. Okay. Now the word in Arabic for plurals is this word, jam'un. Jam'un. To gather, right? We have words very similar we use, jama'a, to gather. Now, there are two types of plurals, and I'm just going to cover one type today. There's the regular type of plural, and then there's the irregular type of plural as well. Now, the regular one follows a fixed pattern. It has a fixed pattern, all right? And because it has a fixed pattern, it also has a particular name, which I'll go through in a second for with you. So let's go through an example, and this is probably the best way to do it. So you have the word muslimun, right? Muslimun, which basically means a believer. Now, I want to make that into a plural. I want to convert that into a plural so it will become believers. So I'll write the English because most of us will know what the plural is. So what do I do and how do I make this into a plural? Well, it's very, very simple. All you do is you get the word as it is. So let's do it in steps this way. You have the word as it is, Muslimun, and then you're going to add an una at the end. Okay, that's all you're going to do. This is a secondary step I've introduced, but you won't need to do this once you've got some practice as well. So basically what you've done is you've put a dhamma on the last letter and of the mufrad, and you've added a una sound. So if you look here, muslimun, that will come off and it'll become una. So let me give you the example here, written properly. So muslimun, that's the meme, that will have a dhamma on and una. Can you see? Right? So muslimun, muslimuna. One of the ways you can remember it is just through the sound of muslimuna. Okay? So this is how we convert a single noun, a masculine, because this is a masculine word, and make it into a plural. And the word is muslimuna. Now, just one or two extra things in terms of terminology. This word here at the end, the plural, is a jama, like we discussed before. So it's called a jama, plural. And because it's masculine, we say mudhakkar, because that's the word that we use, mudhakkar, jama, mudhakkar. And notice something very interesting. If you go back to the actual singular, the meme, the sin, and the lam, and the meme, its letters, in terms of their order, has remained the same, right? You have the meme, sin, lam, and meme. You haven't changed anything. You just added something to it. So the word we have for that is called salim. So this would be called a jama' or jama' mudhakkar salim. So the translation would be sound, because we haven't changed the formation, sound masculine, plural. Okay, so that's how we would turn a singular word, a mufrad, into a plural, following the regular pattern. This is the one that we're doing. Now, what about the feminine side? So I've given an example of men, a Muslim, but someone might be asking, well, what about women? So let's take another word. Let's just take the same word. So the masculine is Muslimun. So we know, let me look at my pen. We know that the masculine is Muslimun, which is what we've done, and that was Muslimuna. Right, to take it from a singular to a plural. Okay, and that's for masculine. So I'm going to put masculine here. Masculine. What about feminine? Okay, so how do we change words that are singular feminine into plurals? So let's use the same word. Let's use muslimatun. And in previous lessons, you will have covered that you put a ta marbuta at the end to turn it into a plural. So how do we do that? It's a similar sort of idea. So let me do it in different color for you so I can work it through with you. So I'm going to do it here and I'm going to fill it in a second. So you have the word. Let me change the color. So you have the word muslimatun. Okay, now I want to make that from a singular to a plural. Because I want to take you on that journey. Okay, so what you do, it's very, very simple. You remove the fatha, okay, or you remove the ta marbuta. So here we have a ta marbuta. You're going to remove that, so that's going to come off. So it's going to become like this for now. Stop there for a second with the meme, right? And you put a fatha on the last letter, yeah, like we did before. And then all you're going to do now is you're going to put an atun at the end. So you're going to put an alif and a ta at the end. Muslimatun. So muslimatun, muslimatun. Tidy up that a little bit. Muslimatun. So it's become from muslimatun, muslimatun, right? That's how you're going to change it from a singular to a plural for the feminine. So let me just fill this chart in here. So it's going to become muslimatun. Now also notice that the ta marbuta disappears and it becomes a normal ta at the end. Be careful with that. So that's something to bear in mind. So it's very, very easy to remember. To turn a masculine singular, you make an una sound at the end. And to turn a feminine singular, you make the atun sound at the end. Okay, so let me give you some examples so you can practice with. So let's just do a new slide. Okay, okay, here we go. So let's pick an example. Let's pick an example that might help you. All right. Now, what I find useful is to draw a little table. So let me do that for you. And I'll explain this table and you can practice with this as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write masculine here and feminine here. All right. Now there's going to be six boxes you're going to fill in. Here I'm going to write singular. Here I'm going to write dual. And here I'm going to write plural. All right. I'm going to change my pen color. So let's pick a word that's very, very easy. All right. So we have the word mu'minun, which basically means believer. And that's a singular masculine. So in here, I put the word mu'minun, which means a believer. Here, I'm going to put the dual for a believer. And I'm going to put the plural for believer, all in the masculine. So all the masculines will go in here. Here, I'm going to try and work out what the feminine is for mu'minun. In here, I'm going to work out what the dual is in here. And here, I'm going to work out what the plural is. So this is a simple example. So let's start with what we already know. So we know already from previous lessons that to change it, we're just going to put a ta marbuta at the end. So mu'minun, mu'minatun. Right, so I've done my masculine, I've done my feminine singular. Okay, now I want to know what's my masculine when it comes to duals. Well, we know from what we've just done now that all we need to do is make the ani sound at the end. So mu'minani, yeah, mu'minani, two believers, two believers. Okay. And if it was for the feminine, you would write the same, but it would become mu'mina tani. Mu'mina tani. Yeah, mu'mina tani. Mu'mina tani. Right, so ani and tani, we've got the sound at the end. All right. Now, how do we change that into a plural? Well, we know there's the una sound at the end, so we're going to write this mu'minuna, mu'minuna. Okay. And how do I turn that into a plural? Mu'minatun, mu'minatun. Remember the tamar boot at the end. Mu'minatun. So now I've done everything. So I've worked out my singular, I've worked out my dual, I've worked out my plural in the masculine, and I've done that for the feminine. Yeah. So mu'minun, mu'minani, mu'minuna, mu'minatun, mu'minatani, mu'minatun. And this will just come through lots and lots of practice. I'll give you one more example. I've said it's always useful to draw this table. So let's go back a little bit. Let's see, actually we'll just do a new one. So here's my table. Again. Okay. So my masculine and my feminine. Okay. And then these are the singular, dual, and plural. Okay. So let's try and pick some examples which you can do. So for example, say someone gives you this word. Say someone gives you this word. Sabirani. Okay. Sabirani. Now the first thing you need to work out is which box does it fill in? Well, it's got an ani sound at the end. So straight away I know it's a form of a dual. And it hasn't got a ta at the end, so it must be a masculine. So I'm going to put in what I know. So sabirani. Right? Sabirani. So I know that already. Now I'm struggling a little bit, so I don't know what else to fill in. Well, let me try and work out what the singular would be. Well, I know the singular would be sabirun. Okay, so I'm getting somewhere. Sabirun. Okay. Now I can work out the feminine. Sabiratun, because of the ta marbuta at the end. So that's done. All right. How do I work out a feminine for this one? Well, I know that it's going to have the tani sound at the end. So sabira tani. Okay, sabira tani. Okay, so I've done that. So I've done most of it. Now I want to work out the plural. Well, I know that the plural has the sabiruna sound at the end, right? Sabiruna. Sabiruna. And then I know from practice that the feminine plural has the atun sound at the end. So sabiratun. Can you see? So it's just practice, lots of practice, and you'll get the hang of it. All right, I'll stop there. Inshallah, if you've got any questions, you can reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.